How are we feeling?
Stiff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But very happy to be here.
Yeah. So tonight's class, I have blocks. I have a strap. I didn't bring a bolster down to Florida, but if I have pillows and things like that, which is kind of nice because you can do this all at home, right? I want you to feel really good about whatever you're doing. So if you want camera on, that's fine. If you want to mute yourself, that's fine. If you want to turn the camera off, that's good too. Everything is okay. There's no wrong here. You know, we're just here together to explore this practice, this ancient practice. This is part of my 300 hour. So this month of February, I'm going to be focusing on some different types of practices, which will be really nice for each class. And then we're going to be, as far as the asana or the physical practice, we're really going to focus on those hips because I don't know about you, but all this coldness has made my hips super stiff along with all my joints too. So I think it'll be a really nice combo. Tonight's class is going to be more in the Hatha kind of thing, which I do anyway, so you're very familiar with that. And we're going to be focusing on the kleshas. Essentially, they're little habits that we do that create suffering within our body, in our system, in our mind, in our spirit. And yoga is a way that we can process the kleshas and kind of look at them from an observer perspective and then help us make different choices and different habits around them. There's 5 of them. Today we're going to be focusing on Avidya, which means essentially like a misunderstanding or a misconception about ourselves. So we're going to explore that theme. And then this is just going to be like a really slow and steady practice. And in that time, we can really take a step back and kind of focus on what are we actually seeing, not what is the narrative that comes up in our practice, because that happens to all of us all day long. So we're going to create space to notice some patterns, assumptions, old habits without trying to change anything. Very much in the vein of how my classes typically work in person. So this is going to be a slow pace, help us invite some clarity in, and then we're going to listen very closely to what our body is actually saying, not what we think it should be saying or, the narrative that comes along with bodies, right? So that's what we're going to be working on. We'll do our physical practice. We'll start with our breath work, our mindfulness. We'll move into the asana, the physical practice. And then, of course, we'll do our shavasana and our relaxation to deepen that. And then I would like to end tonight with a journal prompt. You're more than welcome to stay on and do your little journal prompting and just check in, or you can, just go and do what you need to do. There's no necessarily having to close and be here for that, but I'll give you the journal prompt at the end. How's that sound?
Great.
That's awesome. Beautiful. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and take an actually very comfortable seat. So if you have your pillows, you have your blocks. Yep, you can turn those cameras off and mute yourself or unmute or whatever feels right for you today. I have some music going. I don't know if it's actually audible through my microphone, but it is going for the mood. If you want to set some music up behind you, you can do that too. So a lot of times when we start to come to this comfortable seat, that avidya starts to show up automatically. It starts to kind of creep in. This misunderstanding or kind of like this veil of what a gentle seat should actually look like. So a lot of times we'll come to our seat and think it has to be the most rigid yoga perfect seat you've ever done, or maybe even lotus pose or something like that. I invite you to notice what your body says in your comfortable seat and just notice it first, and then make adjustments if you feel that adjustments should be made. And maybe that's bringing the back body all the way to a wall or the back of the couch or whatever you have behind you. Maybe it's placing blocks underneath the knees. Maybe it's sitting up on a block. Sometimes that's really helpful because then the legs can kind of drop towards the front a little bit, and it really opens up the hip flexor here. So just kind of check in with what your body is saying to you, just to check in. And then notice how it feels in your system to change and tweak just a little bit to make this even more easeful. And as you're here, this might just look like noticing the hips. We're going to be focusing a lot in the hips tonight during this class. It might be noticing the jaw when we come to an easy seat or we're asked to find a gentle, easy seat. It might be that we're starting to notice that breath, and the quality of the breath. And it's okay if nothing really comes up here. That's something to notice too, without putting any kind of effort into it. And then I'd like you to notice if your body feels like it needs to move out of this gentle seat. If maybe something's pinching or there's pressure somewhere in the body and you're like, I need to wiggle, I need to move, I need to adjust. And then notice what comes up with that. Notice if any thoughts come along for that ride and see if we can just allow it to be informational. It's just data, it's just sensation. We're just here in this moment, and this moment is on to the next and the next and the next. And then as you're in your easy seat, I'll invite you to place the hands either palm face down to ground just a bit more through your body, especially if today's been kind of like a rush around type of day, or maybe the mind is a little bit chatty. And then opposite, maybe you flip the palms up if you're feeling really, really sluggish, or like you need a bit more of energy, a bit more lightness in your system. And then from here, can we start to soften the shoulders away from the ears just a bit without assigning anything to it, just releasing and allowing an invitation to soften and release the shoulders away. And then could we invite that jaw to soften just a bit? Maybe we let the tongue fall from the roof of the mouth and widen in the lower palate. And can we let the gaze start to soften? Maybe the eyes start to close if it feels comfortable. And then as we're here in this place of allowing the body to soften, to arrive in this present moment, I invite you to notice the breath. Notice where you feel the breath in your body. And notice any thoughts that come along when you're starting to notice. In this class, we're going to really step outside and look at the body, the breath, the thoughts as the observer. And this seat of observation allows us to clear away any misunderstandings that may cause suffering, any stories that we're telling ourselves, any habits that are creating suffering in our system, in our body, in our mind. So as we're here observing the breath, I invite you to just start to deepen the breath just a little bit. It doesn't have to be your biggest yoga breath. Just notice what it feels like to deepen that breath. And then while we're here today, I'd like us to play with this idea of breath suspension. So the suspension part of a breath is when we inhale and then we exhale, and we don't inhale right away. It's that pause between the exhale and the inhalation. So just notice that first of all as you're breathing here, just a normal, natural, typical inhalation. And then your typical exhalation, and then just notice the space between when the breath ends and the breath begins. We'll do that 3 times, just noticing. Allow this to be the last typical breath where you're noticing that suspension breath. And then we're going to make it very intentional. We're going to inhale for a count of 4, and then we'll exhale for a count of 6, and then we'll hold that suspension breath for 2. So we'll inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the suspension, 2. Inhaling for 4. Exhaling for 6. Suspension for 2. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 6. Suspension for 2. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 6. Suspension for 2. And then continue on your own. 3 more rounds just like this. Let this be your last round. And then we'll return to our typical breathing. And just take a moment to notice as the observer how it felt during that suspension. That couple of counts where you were completely empty of breath, just waiting for the inhale. There's no wrong way. There's no one way either to think about how it felt in the body, and just notice it. And maybe while you're on your day, however that occurs to you, you are playing with this idea of the suspension breath, starting to notice anything that arises in that space, that pause between exhalation and inhalation. And from here, we'll go ahead and take the hands right at heart center. Go ahead and stack them one on top of each other. I know it's cold out there, so we're going to bring just a bit of warmth here right into the heart center by stacking our palms right in the center of the chest. And notice how that warmth just emanates through the body. Maybe you visualize it as a glowing, warm, pulsing energy underneath your hands. And then here, we'll set the intention for our practice today. Allow it to be something that comes up, just anything that comes up for you in your mind. No need to assign judgment to it. Just observe what that is. And then you can tuck it right into that heart center, right underneath that glowing warmth. And then when you're ready to close that space, let's take 2 deep, nourishing HA breaths. Big inhale through the nose. And another one. Beautiful. You can bring the palms together and go ahead and rub the palms together, creating your own heat, your own energy, dissipating any kind of residual energy you might be bringing with you into your practice today. Plus, we love a little bit of warmth. And once those hands are nice and toasty warm, you can cup them over the eyes, bathing the eyes in warmth. And when it feels right, you can blink the eyes open underneath the palms, letting light spill in between the fingertips. And then release the hands down to the lap. Welcome, you have arrived. Just notice how you feel from when we started to right now. So we're gonna come out of this easy seat. I'm gonna take my socks off so I don't slide around. Of course, if you're chilly, you can leave your socks on until we start to kind of move around a bit. I just don't want anybody slipping. And come on down if it feels right. If you're having some tension in that low back and you're starting to notice yourself kind of falling backwards, you can take a blanket underneath the hips. And we'll go ahead and start by letting our legs come out in front of us, and we'll move the flesh away from the sit bones. And let's just go ahead and start to just warm up the hips by windshield wipering and flopping these feet from left to right. Now, as we're here in this floppy, loosey-goosey state, let's see if we can't flop these feet so that the bone in the hip is actually rotating. Good, and then we'll soften that, and we'll start to point and flex the feet. And if you can't hear it from there, I got some snap, crackle, pops happening, so don't feel bad if you do too. Just be the observer, notice what your body is saying without assigning anything to it. Good, and let's go ahead and just open up the toes and squish the toes. Good, and then we'll lean back. I like to place my hands behind me and just kind of lift up those heels and just tap it out. Beautiful. From the here, I'm going to turn so you can see me a little bit clearer. You can stay right where you are. We're going to go ahead and pick up that front foot, whatever front foot you have, whatever feels natural to you. And we're going to rock through the hip here. So you can hold on to that foot, maybe place the hand at the knee. And we're just going to rock into this hip. We're just prepping these hips because we're going to work on those today. If you wanted a little bit more, maybe you take and wrap this arm around and place the foot in the kind of the crux here of your elbow and wrap and go ahead and rock that way. But this works beautifully. I know the idea of being tight came up and stiff. So let's just lean into that a little bit today. No judgment, just notice the body. Really good. Start to slow it all down. Let it run out of energy naturally. Good. You can go ahead and place that leg lovingly on the floor in front of you. We'll go ahead and pick up the other side. And we'll rock just the same. Maybe at this point we're noticing how it feels in our hip, just this gentle swishing, right? Maybe we're noticing how it feels from one side of the body to the other. Just notice, being the observer here. Beautiful. You can start to slow it all down. Really nice. I'll just adjust so you can see me again. Let's go ahead and let the legs go out long. Beautiful. And then from here, I'll start on this side so you can see me. We're going to bend my right knee, so your right knee, and go ahead and try to take the heel close to the pubic bone. It might never get there, but we're just going to walk it in. And then again, if your hips are kind of swishing down like this, and this is like a lot on your abs, you can place the blanket underneath you and it will kind of tip that pelvis forward so you'll feel like you can move a little bit more. Good. And from here, we're going to take a nice big inhale. Now this, I'm sorry. So this foot can either be really flexed if you want some sensation through that leg, or you can leave it a little loosey-goosey with this knee a little soft so that it's not as much pressure on the joint here. And we're going to take a nice big inhale, lengthening through the spine, right? So that the rib cage is right over the pelvis. Big inhale here, and then exhale. We're going to start to rotate to twist towards that bent knee if that feels okay in your body. This might not feel okay. It might feel a little bit pinchy. So option to rotate the opposite way if that feels better. You can hold on to that opposite leg, or you can hold on to that bent knee and just rotate. So inhale here, lengthening, and then exhale. We'll just take a nice little twist to look behind us here. So inhaling, lengthening, and then exhaling, twisting a bit deeper. So notice what thoughts come up when we're in this twist. And then we'll practice being the observer here. Big inhale, and exhale, go ahead and unwind. And we'll do the same thing with the opposite leg. So we'll walk this foot in, and you notice I pick it up and I physically walk it in. That's okay. And then I have to adjust. My belly has to go inside, which is fine, no biggie. No judgment here. Again, if you want more sensation, you can keep that opposite foot flexed. Less sensation, you're going a little loosey-goosey with it. Excuse me. We'll inhale, we'll lengthen here, and then option, exhale, go ahead and take it towards that twist, towards that bent knee. Maybe you gaze behind you. If this doesn't feel good in your body for whatever reason, you'll go the opposite way. Inhaling, lengthening through the spine, exhaling, twisting a bit deeper. Notice where the mind goes in a twist. Just notice. Pure observation. Good, big inhale here, and exhale, unwind any which way that you came into it. Just adjusting so you can see. You can stay right where you are. We're going to take the palms of the feet together. Now this might feel like a lot on that hip, especially if we're feeling tight. You may want to bring your blocks in for a bit of support here. We're going to find ourselves in our cobbler's pose. So a lot of times what we will do is we'll kind of bring the palms of the feet together. For this invitation here to pull the feet apart like a book, like you're reading a book. And we're going to sit up nice and tall here. I like to keep my hands at my ankles. You might feel better at your knees. And just notice where you're gripping, where you're holding. A lot of times that for me, that's the glutes. So maybe we just invite some softness. And then maybe we can echo that softness through our breath, through our jaw. Now, this might be enough, and you might be here going, okay, I feel sensation and I'm good. I can read my body is telling me something. If you need a bit more sensation, invitation to inhale, lengthen that spine, and then maybe the chest is going to end up coming towards that opening in your feet. It might never get there, and that's okay. As we're here in the static posture, invitation to become the observer in the body. Notice what it feels like. Notice where the mind goes. Notice where your breath is. If the jaw is clenched, back off a smidge. We're here, we're breathing. I always find that it's in the stillness where the mind gets kind of chatty. So sometimes when we become the observer of that, it helps to bring us back into the present moment. Good. When you're ready, we'll place the fingers on the floor if you're leaning down, and we'll take a nice big inhale coming all the way back up. Beautiful. You can go ahead and take the legs together. I like to come up into tabletop with my mermaid legs. You can take it however you like. I feel like yoga pants need to come with a belt. They're always slipping down. From here, we're gonna find our tabletop. Let's go ahead and take the legs just a little wider than the hips. The hips would be two fists together. We're just gonna take it a little wider so we feel a little bit more stability here. And then let's go ahead and spread those fingers nice and wide, so we feel really supported here. And then we're gonna press the floor away from us. When you're ready, we'll inhale here at neutral, and then exhale. You can curve to look behind you. Either side is fine. That back heel. Inhale, come back to center, and then exhale, opposite side. Beautiful. Now, as we're in this posture with tabletop, sometimes that can be a lot on the wrists. You can bring a block in underneath you, underneath your hand, if that feels better. I know some people will actually make a fist and use the tops of their fingers down onto the mat. That might feel better if the wrists are feeling a little tight today. When you're ready, we'll find our way back into neutral. We're gonna go ahead and take our cat-cow. Inhaling, we'll find our cow. And exhale, find your cat. Now, invitation here. I find that for my hips, this feels really good. If I'm sitting in my cow position, right? So that belly has dropped, the chest, the gaze is lifted, and that tail is kind of up. And if I swish the hips here, I think that that's heavenly. You might find that when you come into your cat posture, that back is pressing up like a Halloween cat, the tail is tucked, the chin is towards the chest, that swishing those hips feels even better. Invitation to move in any way that feels right for you. And of course, if the floor is a little hard on your knees, you can take that blanket right underneath your knees. Beautiful. Couple of breaths here, just noticing your body, just dropping in. Nice. All right, when you're ready, we'll start to slow that down, come back into a nice neutral spine. From here, we'll start with our left foot. We're gonna take our left foot down away from the midline of the body so that the outer edge of the foot is kind of coming towards the floor. That might look like a 45-degree angle. It could look parallel to the mat. There's no wrong way here. Whatever your hips and your the way that is shaped is happening for you today is fine. And then from here, we're just gonna swish from front to back. Now you might curl the toes underneath you for that back foot. And what that does is it kind of adds a little plantar stretch there. This can be as small of a movement, right? You could be right here just breathing, or a big movement. Invitation to find a little bit of a cat-cow here. Good. And when you're ready, maybe we'll start to come all the way up. My hair is doing funny things. I'm just gonna move so you can see me. So this is gate pose. And if this is too much to come up on the knee like this, you can stay down just like this and just keep with that swishing. We're gonna come all the way up. I have my back toes, you can kind of see it here. They're curled under for a little additional support. So this right here, it's a big hip opener, right? It's the inner groin area. So this is a big one where we can, if it feels right, maybe you take those arms up right overhead. Check that that spine isn't like coming forward, where that the rib cage isn't coming forward. Go ahead and settle it back down. Take a nice big inhale, and then from here we'll take opposite palm. Maybe it comes onto some blocks, or you can come all the way down to the floor with your hand. And from here, we're going to focus on the tippy tips of those fingers all the way to the edge of that foot. Big inhale, equal exhalation. Maybe the gaze is lifted, maybe it's at the floor. You know what your body needs. Notice where the thoughts go here. Big inhale pulls you up. Use your breath to come all the way up, and then we'll come all the way over to the other side. Couple of breaths here. Just notice what it feels like in your body. Fingers nice and wide. There's a line that comes all the way from the tips of the fingers down to that knee. Inhale, bring yourself all the way up. 2 more times just like this. Inhale up. And exhale over. Inhale up. And exhale over. Last one. Big inhale, pull yourself all the way up. And big inhale will come back to neutral. Really nice. Okay. From here, you can go ahead and find that tabletop posture once more. Let's go ahead and take just a couple of cat-cows here. Just a little reset. Excuse me, I'm having a wardrobe malfunction. Beautiful. I'm going to spin around because I don't have much room with this wall here. I'm just going to get myself set up. And we're going to take our gate pose once again. So this time we're going to take that right foot. And now this might feel different than the left right off the bat. So just notice what you feel in your body, right? Because this is our driving leg. And then we'll start with that inhaling and exhaling. Maybe we come back. I drove over 20 hours this past weekend. So I am stiff right along with you. Inhaling forward, exhale. Let the exhale just press that air right out when you're sending those hips back. Beautiful. If you wanted to, you could be adding some cat-cow in here too. And that might feel really good. And that might be where you stay. And when it feels right, maybe you come all the way up, only if it feels right in your body. And of course, we'll bring the arms up overhead. Just take a breath here. Inhaling, and then go ahead and let that opposite hand come on down. So we're creating this long line from the tip of our fingers all the way to the side of that foot. Big inhale brings us all the way back up. And exhale over. Inhaling up. And exhale. Inhaling. And exhale. Keep moving just like this. 2 more. Last one. And inhale will come all the way back up. Beautiful. Really, really nice. Go ahead and find the floor. Boop, boop, boop. Fantastic. From here, let's go ahead and take the knees nice and wide. Toe mounds to touch. We'll send the hips back. And you can take your child's pose however it feels right for you. That might be with a block underneath the forehead, depending on how the day has been. Maybe the palms are outstretched, or maybe you just create a little padding for your head with your hands. In this little bit of a pause in this child's pose, let's become the observer once more, noticing the breath, noticing the body. Good. And then we'll slowly start to make our way back into our tabletop. Beautiful. If you have your blocks and you want to bring them in, you can. I like to start with them on level 2. Eventually, they always end up on level 3 for me, but I like the way to hold a block this way. It feels like I got little extenders for myself. Beautiful. And we'll start by placing that left foot in between our blocks, and we're just going to swish the hips a hair. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, maybe you let that hip kind of sink forward. Check out the angle here. It's okay if the knee goes past the toes, but we'll go ahead and just see if we can see our big toe and our second toe, and that ankle and that knee are lined up. Just notice. I feel like sometimes it takes a bit more awareness to come into that type of an alignment, and that's all it's about, is just noticing. Beautiful. If you feel like you want a bit more, the arms can always come up overhead. Lots of options here. You can also keep the hands down. Beautiful. Big inhale. Go ahead and bring that foot back. All right, we're going to take it to the opposite side. Right foot comes in between, and then we're going to start that swishing. Good. When you're ready, maybe you can swish. You could swish the whole time. Maybe that hip starts to sink into our low lunge here with our knee down. Find the breath. Maybe you stay here, just noticing alignment, knowing what happens in your jaw when we start to work deep into the hips. Maybe the arms come up. Good. And when you're ready, you can start to bring those hands back down, and we'll place that right foot behind us. This time we're going to take that left foot on the outside of the block. So what can happen here is this can feel almost like you're on a tightrope, especially if the pelvis needs a bit more room. So invitation here to take this foot out at a 45-degree angle, if that feels better in your hips. Same thing, little swishies. Good. And then when you're ready, if you're ready, now you can stay swishy the entire time. If it feels good, we're going to start to maybe walk those blocks forward just a bit. And we're going to allow that hip to kind of fall forward for our lizard's pose. Couple options. You can stay lifted up on your blocks. Beautiful. Great option. Next option, maybe you take your blocks in front and stack them one on top of each other. And then maybe you stay up. Maybe you bring the palms to touch and the elbows and forearms onto that block. Maybe the head starts to sink. Just start to notice your body here in this moment as it is. Notice any thoughts, any stories that arise here. We're working deep into the hips, lots of breath. Two more big breaths here. Notice where the breath goes in the body. Can you release the jaw? Big inhale. We slowly start to come out, one step at a time. Let's go ahead and just swish that hip out a little bit. Beautiful. When you're ready, Go ahead and bring that left foot back. Woo! And then we'll bring the right foot forward. Now, everything might change, right? As we come into this right side, just notice, take this foot even wider than your mat if it's available to you. And if you need to, again, this foot can be at a 45-degree angle, kind of away from you, because that will translate as an external rotation through the hips, which can sometimes feel a bit better and give you a bit of lightness. And we'll just start by swishing. And then when you're ready, we'll sink down. And you might never be ready, and that's okay. Listen to your body. And then what maybe happened on the other side, so like that left side we started, might not translate onto the right, and that's okay. It might be different. That right side tends to be a little different. So if you are here and you're like, I'm not really sure, you don't have to go for it. That's sovereignty, saying no. We're going to celebrate that. If you're open, maybe you're coming down. Option to come down to the blocks. You can come all the way down to the floor. You can let that head tuck. This is the practice, sinking deep into those hips, listening to what comes up, removing yourself from the narrative, observing the thoughts. That's Avidya, seeing clearly. When you're ready, big inhale, start to walk your way back all the way up. You can swish it out a little bit. You may have been swishing the whole time. That's okay. Good. And we'll start to find that knee back with its friend on the floor. Very, very good. From here, couple of options. Downward facing dog might not be your jam for a variety of different reasons. If you are taking downward facing dog, you would like an alternative. You can bring your blocks in the number 11 in front of you, take your wrists to the bottom part of that block, spread the fingers nice and wide. Maybe you come up onto the balls of your feet. If you're not doing that, that's okay. You can be in your tabletop posture, just feeling it out. You can also bring the hands all the way down to the floor. From here, taking the feet nice and wide, maybe the pinky toes wrap around the edge of the mat. I mean, we're really wide here. We're pressing the floor away. And that center spot of the shoulder blades, like right in the center of the back, is starting to press up towards the ceiling. And then from here, we're pedaling it out. Good. If it starts to feel okay, maybe you walk those feet in. A little closer together. And then wherever you are, you're going to start to make your way to the top of your mat. You can keep the blocks for some support. Let's take the feet wider than the hips so we feel very supported here. Good. Take a nice big inhale and exhale. We can bend these knees. Start to fold forward. If this doesn't feel good, you can stay up and lift it. Right? You can even come all the way up. I know sometimes that low back can be a little bit like pins and needles, so we want to be gentle, loving, and kind. Bending the knees. Maybe you hold on to opposite elbows, and we're just going to ragdoll it out, swishing from side to side. Good. We'll start to slow that down. You can use your blocks if you have them in front of you just to kind of steady yourself. Bend the knees nice and deep so that the entire torso goes over the knees. And then we're slowly going to ragdoll all the way up. The head's going to come on last. We're going to find ourselves in our mountain pose. When you're ready, you're going to take that left foot And you're going to send it to the back of the mat and spin your feet so that they face the side of the mat. You might decide you like your blocks, so you can bring them along for the ride here. From here, we're going to hold on to the hips. Just place the hands on the hips. Take a nice big inhale, and then exhale with a nice flat back. We'll start to make our way all the way down, and we're swishing those hips from side to side. You can let the chin come into the chest. Now, if you're at home and you would rather have your hand on the back of the chair or the back of the couch, you could do that. You can be up and lifted. And as you're here, you're just swishing those hips. You might decide you want to bend one knee and then the other. Notice what it feels like in your body. You can go back and forth between the two. Your hands might also be all the way down to the floor. That's okay. Beautiful. Now we can really slow this down to bending the one knee at a time. Good. And then if you want to stay in that dynamic posture, moving, that's all right. You can do that, whatever your body needs tonight. Another option would be to take a nice big inhale and exhale, start to let that head come towards the floor. This is more about the back of the legs. You may feel it in your hips a bit, especially if you let that head really fall forward and then swish the hips. Beautiful. When you're ready, we'll take a nice big inhale. You can start to move your hands on top of those blocks if you have them, or just in front of you. Place the hands on the hips. Inhale is going to bring you all the way back up. Beautiful, really nice. From here, we're just going to let that left foot come meet the right. You might want to bring your blocks along for the ride. And find yourself at the top of the mat. From here, we're going to take the feet nice and wide as the mat, if not wider. Now those feet can be at a 45-degree angle if that makes sense for your body, and it would feel better in the hips. And we're going to find our Malasana squat. I know. We can bring our blocks in to make a little seat here, and then bend the hips coming down all the way on top of those blocks, or not, whatever is your preference. You can also do this from your couch, sitting on the couch, or sitting on the chair. We're going to bring the palms of the hands together in Anjali Mudra. Fingers are spread nice and wide. And we're going to take and tuck the elbow right into our inner thigh and start to press into those thighs, moving the knees away. Beautiful. From here, you might decide to take that left hand to that left ankle or the foot or the floor, wherever it comes down, and maybe you start to twist towards that right side. I like to take my hand to that right leg and just kind of press it away. And then you might decide on your exhale to come back to center and then go ahead and spin it around the other way. You can probably see a little better this way. It's like that twist we did at the beginning, but only do as much as feels right for you. And notice where your mind goes in this posture. Then you can always bring it back to center whenever you feel like you've had enough. Good, and we'll find our hands on the floor, lift the bum up, take out the blocks. And the way we come down is we just put our knees down onto the floor and find ourselves back in our tabletop position. From here, we're going to find ourselves all the way onto our backs. Go ahead and bring the feet nice and wide, bending the knees. And we'll windshield wiper those knees. Beautiful. From here, you can stay windshield wipering if that just is your jam and that feels fine, then you may want to stay there. From here, though, we're going to find our figure 4 posture. So you can go ahead and start, with the left foot over the right knee. And you might stay here, and this might be perfect. And you might have a bit of sensation in the hips, in the low back. Wherever you feel this, just notice. And you might want to just rock here. Permission to do that. Permission to take any hold on your leg that feels good to you and in your body. One might be to take an exhale, start to press this knee towards your belly, and then inhale, press it away. You might stay there and just do this. Sometimes these little movements in the hip can do more than a big stretch. So you might do that, or maybe you come to hold the back of the thigh here, the shin, top of the shin. Maybe you rock. There's so many options here for you to play with and explore. We're going to take 8 rounds of breath. So spend some time just soaking it in. One more round of breath here. Beautiful. When you're ready to slow this down, you come into stillness, and then we'll gently, lovingly, mindfully just take that left foot off of that right foot and go ahead and just right knee, and then go ahead and just switch it out. We'll take that right foot to that left knee, and we'll just swish here to get started. And just notice the hips, right, as we're getting started here. And then maybe you start to move into that, moving that knee away and towards you. So it's an exhale as the knee comes in, right, pressing that air out of your system. And then inhale, you found the expansion, bringing that breath in. Exhale as the knee comes towards you. Inhale as it moves away. Now you could take any hold that feels right here. You could rock, you could hold on to the back of that thigh, the top of that shin, whatever feels right in your body. Let's do 5 more rounds of breath here. Slowing it all down and just letting the posture work. One more breath here. Beautiful. And when you're ready, we'll allow that left foot to plant, and then we'll gently remove the right foot from that left knee. Option to take the feet out nice and wide and do your swishies, or maybe we come up into our happy baby. This is going to be a pretty vulnerable posture, so lots and lots of options here. You may find that you'd like a more restorative approach to this by taking the hands to the back of the thighs and then just rocking the hips instead of coming up into that big full expression. That can feel really nice for a change of pace, just kind of dropping in. You know what you need. And when you choose the posture, think about what that choice is, right? Where is it coming from? Is it coming from that sovereignty, or is it coming from another story? Just check in. And as you're here, you may eventually find yourself in stillness. And just notice where the mind goes while you're here in this happy baby, blissful baby. My teacher would correct me. It's blissful baby. This feeling of bliss. Beautiful. From here, nice big inhale. And exhale, you can bring the knees together. You can maybe rock here. I like to bring my hands to the tops of the knees and kind of press them away and rock. You may feel a little bit differently. Maybe you want to bring the knees in close and rock to stimulate some of the belly here and digestion. Couple of options for our Shavasana. You can take your Shavasana completely supine, maybe with some blocks or pillow underneath the thighs, or maybe we come into a kind of reclined bound angle pose, taking the strap along the hem of that pant, right, all the way along the back. And then that strap would go underneath the feet. And then we'll just make sure when we make our little belt that it's the buckle's not on us. So from here, you can see it goes around my back and it goes around my feet, and the strap is actually inside, not around the outside. It's on the inside. So it went over my leg, not around it. It's okay if it's not perfect. You can also do this without the strap. What I do like about the strap is that I can control how much pressure is happening on my leg, so I can give more support or less depending on how much I pull on that little tail. So then what I'll do is I'll set myself up with blocks underneath the knees. This can be very supportive and restorative. Then I'm going to tuck that pelvis just a little bit as I start to make my way all the way down. This is a little tight. So you can take your Shavasana here. You don't have to. If this feels uncomfortable, you might choose to just take the feet out. You can come into that bound angle just without the strap, or option to come into a more traditional Shavasana. Maybe the blocks come underneath the thighs at like a 45-degree angle. Take up as much room as you need. Allow the entire body to drop into the earth. Allow for yourself to become the observer of your thoughts, of the breath, and of the body. Know that you are safe here, and when it is time, I will call you back gently. Begin to deepen the breath. Wiggle through your fingers and your toes. Rocking through wrists and ankles. Maybe you rock the head from left to right. Maybe you bring the arms up overhead and stretch like a child waking from their nap. Bringing the knees into the chest. And then let's go ahead and come all the way over onto our right side today. Into fetal position. And just take a moment here to notice the body, notice the breath. Notice the mind in this moment. And then when you're ready, we'll use the right hand to the left hand to press into the earth and slowly come all the way up to a gentle seat. Now, let's make it gentle. So bringing your blocks in, or your pillow. And just finding our way at the close of our class. Maybe we bring the palms right at heart center the same way we started. And just take a moment here to notice where the mind is, and if we are seeing ourselves clearly in this moment, just notice. No judgment. And then we're going to close with a question, which we'll leave at the end of class. So from here, I just want to thank you so much for sharing your practice with me. I truly appreciate it. I appreciate you both being here, being part of this absolutely gorgeous community. And I want to have a little bit of gratitude for all the beauty that surrounds us each and every day, with special thanks to puppies. Om Shanti, Om Peace, and we bow. A joyful end to our class today, everybody. The question that I would like to leave you with today is, what did I notice today when I slowed down and paid closer attention? So if you would like to stay on and journal for a few moments with each other, you may do so. That question again is, what did I notice today when I slowed down and paid closer attention?
Thank you, Jody.
Have a wonderful night. I hope you feel better in your body, in your mind, and in your spirit.
Much needed. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Be well.